ALG really saved me. I put all of my success on joining this group. People constantly checking in saved me.
I made so many friends with people that I've never met, but I feel incredibly close to, and I consider them family.
It really is a family. It is a place where you can just be yourself and there is no judgment. There is no shame. You are so welcome there.
Nobody has to be in this alone. Everybody is either going through or has gone through the same thing at one point.
Let's do this.
Welcome back to the ALG podcast. I appreciate you all making some time today to listen to us. Real quick at the top of the hour, I just asked if you please could leave us a 5-star rate and review. We are reading all those reviews and we really appreciate it. It helps the podcast expand. So if you could please do that, we really appreciate it. As always, I am John Arpino, otherwise known as JARP's Journey. Alongside me is my partner in crime, David Roden, otherwise known as Fit_D-Rock. David, what's going on, brother?
It is a phenomenal Sunday. Feeling super grateful today. And if you're watching this early on, I know you're still listening because I know where our numbers are at. 3 things you're grateful for if you're listening to this right now, and if you're on YouTube, comment below what those are, because that is the key to health and the mental side of things. So there you go.
Hell yes. And today we have a very special guest. Today we are joined by RNY Keto guy, Jess. What's going on, Jess?
What's going on, guys? Pleasure to be here with you guys, man.
It's a pleasure to have you, brother. So, Jess, we have a lot to talk about today. And before we really get on to the nitty gritty, why don't you share with everybody your total weight loss, and then we'll get into the rest of your story.
Sure, absolutely. So highest ever recorded weight, and obviously I could have been, more than this, but highest ever recorded weight on a scale was 581 pounds. And I lost over 200, about 235, 240 pounds, gained a little bit back, but back on the game now. And I've lost 64 pounds of the 90 that I had gained from my lowest weight. So I got down to 346. So
that's awesome.
Cool.
Hey man, it's a marathon. It's not a sprint,
Absolutely.
So you have gone through this journey a couple of different ways, right? So
that's what I'm so fascinated about.
You had RNY, right? Which we'll get into.
I did.
And having the RNY, you've kind of taken the keto approach. Is that right?
Yeah, and keto, has only been as recent as of the end of November of this year.
Okay.
Of 2020, sorry. And before that, I dabbled in any and every diet that you can probably imagine. And the reason why I say that and why keto seems to stick is the one thing that seemed to work the best for me was always no sugar, no grains. Gotcha. However, when, I have a couple friends in the keto, type community that I would say took me under their wing, showed me the ropes, gave me the information that I needed so that I could do my homework and run with it. And I think that's why for keto is a lot similar to no sugar, no grains. So with the keto world and everything that's adapted and you have all of this plethora of just information and everything and ideas. I think keto has made it fun for me. That's right. Why I've chosen that path, and it works. So.
Cool.
So, I'm sorry. Go ahead, David.
I was literally going to say, all right, backdrop. I want to know the story that led up to all this. Yeah, is where I was going. Perfect. Yeah, we're only co-hosts. So fill us in, Jess. Kind of walk us into. I was 406 pounds by the time I was 3 months old.
Yeah.
Pretty close. I was a big baby. I was like a 10-pound baby. So
Jesus.
Put my mom through some pack. No. So I've been obese ever since probably the age of 6 years old. There's pictures of me when I was a kid of eating a whole loaf of French or Italian bread. Just Yeah, that would stem from just kind of, I would balloon up all through my childhood. If I wasn't, I think sports is probably, you know, I was very, you know, big time into, you know, baseball. Baseball was my life when I was a kid. And, you know, playing, you know, organized, you know, somewhat, if you want to call it travel baseball, whatever, that really, if I wasn't doing that, I was probably putting food into my mouth.
Right.
So, and that's just my memory and going back into the day, you know, going into junior high, still big, probably 270, 280 in junior high school, you know, probably in the 300s. And then in my adult life, it was the hardest thing to ever tell someone that I wasn't either 400 or 500 pounds.
Right.
So, you know,
so question for you, off of food itself, because obviously you said like eating this loaf of bread when you were a kid, all and that kind of, as you look back on it now, what was food to you? And like, why were you, do you have any inclination of where it came from? Like for me, mine was just lack of accountability. I just was never told no, and I just did it. It wasn't a stress thing for me. It wasn't it. I just enjoyed eating food. So what was it for you?
And I mean, David, I've battled this question like you wouldn't believe, as far as trying to figure out what the triggers were, you know, when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
I grew up in a great home. My parents, you know, together, married until, you know, my dad passed away. You know, so I was in a loving home.
Mm-hmm.
And when I say loving home, when there was food that was put on the table, if I wanted seconds, if I wanted thirds, I was never told no,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And the types of foods that we ate was, you know, the fried foods, everything that you can imagine that was bad, and the quick type foods.
Right.
So quick foods usually mean that you're not spending a whole lot of time preparing that meal. It's going to be the bad type of stuff. And that was just how I grew up. So
and was it the same with your family too then? Your parents, like were your parents overweight as well?
Absolutely.
Okay. So it was just a standard thing. It wasn't.
Yeah. The only one that wasn't, and if you want to look at back then to where it is now, my brother was probably the only one that was a little bit more leaned out than anyone else in our family. But if you look at what the numbers would state today, he would still have been obese, even, you know,
Gotcha.
then, but a different type of, you know, but nowhere near like what I was, or, you know, my mom was overweight. My dad was overweight.
Yeah, right. No, and that's the whole thing. I think it's so important. What you were doing right there is so key, because this is the biggest misconception I always poke at people with, is like, just because you're obese as a child and you ate a bunch doesn't mean there was some catastrophic event that Uncle John did something bad. Like, no, like some people, it's just, that was the standard of practice within my family.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
So what was that turning point for you?
So, you know, I mean, I would go through this all through, you know, like I said, junior high, high school, adult life. In January, you know, I'd get married. I would have, you know, 2 beautiful girls. You know, so in January of 2017, I found myself, you know, at my breaking, you know, just rock bottom. I had put myself in the hospital with ulcers on, you know, both of my legs. You know, and I was always that person that, you know, okay, I'm overweight, I'm obese, but I'm immortal. That's how I felt.
Yep.
That is exactly how I felt. And it wasn't until, you know, don't get me wrong, that I did not want to ever lose the weight. I mean, I had tried so many times with so many different things. And at that point in time, you know, being in the hospital with the ulcers on both my legs, my weight I had never really, in my eyes, let my weight get bigger than what I thought I could control.
Okay.
But with the ulcers on my legs, that was a sign that my body was deteriorating. I mean, there was holes in my legs. You know what I mean? That was the most scariest thing that, you know, that I could do. I mean, I never had like, you know, where I thought I was having a heart attack or any of those types of things leading up to that. You know what I mean? But that was just too scary enough for me that I could not control. And while I was in the hospital, the doctor that was on staff at that time, he goes, do you know about our, weight loss surgery program? And I was like, no. And I kind of shrugged it off a little bit because I had looked into weight loss surgery previously in the past, more so doing like the lap band procedure. And I had gone through local hospital here and their program and everything. But I always had this mental thing of, the stigma that gets put around weight loss surgery of there's individuals out there that will say, oh yeah, that's the easy,
Right.
That's the easy way out.
Yep.
Whatever the case may be for me. And I kind of had a little bit of that thinking myself, and, because I didn't have the education, I didn't have the knowledge, behind it. And, so I kind of went through that program. And then when I was, about to go through with lap band, I had pulled out mainly because I had lost my job at the time that gave me the insurance to get there. And then it turned into, well, now I don't have the insurance. So that kind of ruined that. I don't want to say ruin it, just, at that point, the timing wasn't right, I guess.
Right.
So going through this and him saying that, I would kind of do my research, go through with this program. I took my wife with me to the orientation for the hospital's program. We both listened to it. I was both gung-ho, and I was like, you know what? I have to do something drastic right now because of the situation that I'm in. It's not just about me. It's about 3 other people that I have to, be here for and support. So I would go through it. Not only did I go through it, but something that's important and I like to share too is my wife, went through it too. And so this was, like me going through the weight loss surgery. I had Roux-en-Y, she had VSG, and she actually got hers done a month before, I did.
Okay.
So, and it just was timing, and that's how it worked out. So the greatest thing of support and connect in that is that my wife and I were able to go through a lot of that
together
at the same time.
So let me ask you something. Why the R&Y and why not VSG? Why did you lean more towards the R&Y?
It wasn't necessarily what I, my choice in it. A lot of it was, but I put my faith into the surgeon and what they thought, what he thought was, best for me. And don't have any pre-existing conditions with, diabetes or anything like that.
Really?
But, yeah. So you
had no diabetes, no high blood pressure, no sleep apnea.
High blood pressure, yes.
Okay.
But diabetes, no. And that's a big thing for like the Roux-en-Y. But because I guess their thought was with my body structure and how massive, I was, that Roux-en-Y was the better route to go than VSG at that point in time.
So for those listening, why don't you tell us the difference between VSG and the R&Y?
So VSG is where if you want to basically picture your stomach and cutting out a portion of your stomach, and then the remaining part is almost like the shape of a banana. And you still have everything intact as far as an even flow through, from, through the mouth to your, digestive tract all the way down.
Right.
And the portion that they cut out of your stomach with VSG, they through a little hole in your stomach, they rip it out. It's gone from you, never to be there again. With Roux-en-Y, they cut your stomach even smaller to almost the size of a little, about the size of a hard-boiled egg. And the remaining part of your stomach stays intact. And then they take your your intestines and they actually reroute that so that, and what happens with that is you don't get as much, of the nutritional value in some of your foods. So you really have to be big on, your vitamins and supplements and that type of thing for like almost, pretty much the rest of your life. I mean, it's not, because of that absorption that you're going to get, you have to be in tune with it all. So, but that's kind of the 2 major differences. And I love the fact that, I've been able to have knowledge and experience with both because, my wife went through one and then I went through, the other.
Right. So how is it different for the both of you? Like as far as lifestyle and the eating goes, like what was there big differences of like what you were able to eat, what she was able to eat, or the amount of food each of you were able to eat?
Yes, for the most part. I mean, in the very beginning of it all, I mean, we were pretty much the same as far as, you know, amounts of food and that type of thing. I think, you know, as far as like where we are as we progress and went through it, I could find myself obviously, you know, eating more as more months got, you know, got put on. I think this same would go for her too. And, you know, every once in a while we still have, you know, where your eyes are always going to be bigger than what
Of course,
your stomach is. And now that's like literally, you know, a true case. But we not, her and I don't always like and agree on the same types of foods. And we've tried our best, like even going out to dinner instead of buying two different meals, trying to share a meal, cutting down on the cost, but using our tools and what was provided to us as, you know, a way to like maybe only do the one meal and split it.
right.
But we are very, very different on the spectrum of different foods that we like. So,
Yep. Okay.
So what was it like for you when you first hit that like 100-pound weight loss goal?
So,
and how long did that take?
Believe it or not, and this is a crazy thing with my story, is I was 581 pounds. The surgeon told me that I was high factor, high risk. So they would not operate on me until I lost and was under 500 pounds. So that was, I mean, that almost derailed me right there, because it's like, you know, I'm coming to you guys for this, you know, surgery.
Yep.
And now you're telling me that I already got to lose almost 100 pounds, you know, just to
get the surgery,
get the surgery. But I was so determined that I was like, all right, man, I'm going to do this. So I ended up losing almost like 95 pounds and getting, you know, just below the, you know, the 500-pound mark for them to have. And that would spark up even internally, like in my immediate family, some questions of, well, if you know you can do that, how come you just, you know, how come you just don't stick with that and what you're doing and not go through the surgery? My rebuttal and my answer to that was, you guys know me like so well that I'm surprised you're asking this question, because I can count on both of my hands the amount of times that I've gone through and I've lost close to 100 pounds and then gained it back, close to 100 pounds and gained it back. I was looking for that one tool that put me over the hump. And at that point in time in my life, being, you know, close to 581 pounds when I started, the whole mind thing with me, because I could never remember being able to tell someone that I was, let alone in the 400s for the longest time, but in the 300s. So my thing was, is when, as soon as I can hit 399 at any point in time, whether it's the surgery, whatever, I know that I've gotten over that hurdle or that hump of being like, that to me was like some small, the first goal, excuse me, but small level of success for me at that point. It was that milestone marker that told me, all right, man, you're doing this. This is happening now.
Right. So how did you go about losing that initial 81 pounds so you could get the surgery?
I did at that time, I didn't really have the knowledge of keto. I was doing the no sugar, no grains. So I cut out all, you know, pastas, you know, I mean, anything, you know, all, you know, types of, sugars. I mean, which was probably putting me into even ketosis at that point.
Oh yeah.
You know, not knowing that I was even, you know, by accident, you know, so.
Right.
So I gotta.
What's that?
Keep going.
So that's why I just knew that, you know, knowing that I did so well on that beforehand, and then obviously the tool gave me that extra set of, you know, motion. But now and today, I know that it's 2017 to 2021, almost 4 years or whatever. The magic of this tool is gone now, and now it's all, you know. It's all me.
So how's that impacted your life, and how has that impacted your mindset?
Well, I would say the first go around and even having the tool and everything, I think I took some things for granted, and I just thought that it's mixed emotions with it. I want to say that I was smarter and not as gullible, but I think, I thought this weight loss surgery really, I knew that I was going to have to do the work. Don't get me wrong. But I really did think that I would be so much further along than where I was with the surgery. And the fact of the matter is that you still have to work your ass off to, get to where you want to be. And I think the first time around is I had the tool, I had the surgery done, tried to be the best I could be in the right, mindset, but I don't think that I gave myself that true, fixing what was above the shoulders.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Swinging to this time around, and what I'm doing now is I'm focusing on more smaller type goals and type situations to be more successful this time around, get myself right in the mindset of, how I view things now, as opposed to the way that I did it before. And that's why, when I had gained, like 90 pounds back of the total amount that I had lost, after having the weight loss surgery, it scared me, because it put me over that 400 marker again.
100%.
Of course.
I went back up to 440 pounds, and I stopped one day cold turkey, and I'm like, I'm doing this keto thing. And then my first, thought was, I'm giving Jess a full year of commitment to myself, and then reevaluating and seeing where I'm at. And if I have to tweak and adjust, that's fine. But I'm going to figure out what has weight loss surgery done to, my metabolism, and where I'm at with that. Am I overeating? Am I undereating? As I'm adding exercise in and getting and changing things mind ways, where, being comfortable with being uncomfortable type.
That's a very important one.
Type situations where I never really did that, before,
Right.
So that was a big, hurdle and obstacle that I had to, overcome. Am I still learning and doing that in my everyday process now? Oh, 100%. But I think just the way that I look at things now is a lot different than I did, 3 years ago when I first had my surgery. And now it's all about fixing what's above the shoulders.
Right.
Because without that, I'm not going to get anywhere.
No, and actually, one of the things that there's two different angles I wanted to go at. Number one, you were saying how you were checking metabolism. You had your BMR done.
I did.
You did. So you had like you sat in a chair, and they put your mouth over this, and they check your CO2 and inhale and exhale, and it basically tests your basal metabolic rate of how many calories you burn at rest in a day. And what was yours?
Mine was 2088.
28. And see, that's not, I know you were really fearful of having destroyed your metabolism.
Yeah.
And 2088, I mean,
it wasn't
not
as
terrible.
horrible as what I thought going in there.
No.
I was going to be like, this thing's going to tell me, come shoot
800.
Something like that. Yeah.
It does happen, obviously, but the destruction of your metabolism is so over dramatized today, because it's like, again, it's like a population. It does happen. Like, don't get me wrong, but 9 times out of 10, everyone that thinks they destroy their metabolism,
I feel like it's very hard to do that.
It really is. And like, it's the new day and age we live in is, all right, look, where's the next pole that we need to, where's the next field goal that you're aiming for, of like, oh, well, I don't want to do that.
Right.
And like, it is interesting. It does happen, but it doesn't happen as much as you think.
But I will tell you this, for anyone that's thinking about or in the middle of and having struggles and having those types of situations, I would recommend going and having one of those.
100%.
100%.
My favorite thing to do is anything that breaks down mysticism. Like anything like counting your calories, weighing out this is going to be some nutritionists are going to say this is a dangerous slope to eating disorders, but counting out your calories, weighing out your food to start to knowing exactly what you're actually putting in your body is so flippin' important. Do you have to do it forever? No. But if you're 400, 500, 600 pounds, you have no idea what 1,000 calories looks like. You have no idea what 2,000 calories looks like. And until you actually break down the mysticism of what it actually looks like, you have no idea. Well, I feel like I'm eating healthy. Well, actually, Sally, you're eating 6,000 calories. Oh, I didn't know. Exactly. And then that's empowering. Same thing with the basal metabolic rate. Like you get that. You're so fearful you're destroying your metabolism. You get it done, and I was like, oh, okay, that's not bad. But no, I completely agree of breaking down the mysticism of it. And the other question I had for you, this is actually what we were talking about beforehand, because I knew a little bit of it. Walk us through, because you have some experience within like the extreme weight loss entertainment space. Walk us through that experience when it comes to extreme weight loss, with your thoughts on Biggest Loser, stuff like that. What was your experience with that?
Yeah. So, I had a lot of friends and everything, being as big as I was, they pushed me they would tell me, man, why don't you go and try and apply for Biggest Loser? You'd be great. Personality wise, just to, be on the show in front of the camp or whatever. I didn't believe in Biggest Loser.
Right.
There's some different, obviously, I do not believe in the being paid to lose weight type scenario.
Totally get that.
Yeah. I think that totally, that's not fixing what's above the shoulders. You know what I mean? So when Extreme Makeover Weight Loss Edition with, Chris Powell, the trainer, when that show hit and I watched season 1, and as an adult man watching this and bringing back so many different, memories, bawling my eyes out to different episodes because I could relate with, these people's stories so much so that I would embark on trying to, be on that show. And the reason why I think I gravitated so much to that show is there was a gentleman when I was younger, about 8, 9 years old, here in the, my state of Michigan here locally, that, he it was like 700 something pounds, lost over, 400 or 500 pounds, whatever it may be at that point in time, even back then. Now this is back in the late, 80s. He would be recognized in, the newspaper and everything. I would see this article. I would go to my parents and I would say, I want help from this, because what he was doing was he was putting on a program for kids, for him to mentor and just try to help them along, in their weight loss. I would go to these, we would talk sports, and it was co-ed. It was male, female, just people that I didn't have to explain myself to, other kids that just knew. I mean, we were all together, and we all were successful. Every single one of us on this thing. We were on, there's a local show back in the day. David, you may remember this, Kelly and Company. So, it was old. So, I mean, okay. And I know you're young. I know you're younger than I am, but we were on, we were on that show. And so, okay. So was this gentleman and local news, type talk show. Anyway, I don't to speed this up. So being on there, and we would show up week after week for these mentorships with him. I was losing weight. I think at that time I lost like 65, 70 pounds. Right. I mean, I was just on top of the world.
And what was you guys doing? He was creating a meal plan for you, or what?
He was telling us the types of foods to eat, creating, a type of meal plan for us, trying to incorporate, some exercise. We were exercising, doing things. We were being active, when we would show up for these, weekly things. Then as we started to continue to go, as months went on, he wasn't showing up, and everyone was asking, where he was at. So he stopped showing up. Reason being is he got offered book deals. He got offered to be on radio shows. He was traveling. He came up with his own $39.95 weight loss program that was being advertised in newspapers and everything. He gave, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, he gave up on all of us to find his, rags to riches story,
Gotcha.
that type of thing. It ruined me. It wrecked me. Even to this day, I still have some, angst about it, whatever you want to say. But I wrote the I forgive type thing. But when I seen Extreme Makeover, to bring it back into that, I saw Chris Powell as being that that individual again. That this is who this can be that person again, and drive it home, take it home for me.
So what was that process of getting on the show?
So excruciating, man. You had to go through so many things, so much paperwork. Me and David were kind of touching on this before we went live. You had to go see your doctor and fill out this paperwork. And they would ask for these things, and you had to respond back so quickly to this information. Go see your doctor. Okay, well now, you might be, there's a possibility that you might be paired up in a room with a female and not a male. I mean, some weird. So then I had to fill out this form of like, if you have a canker sore, you have to announce that you have a canker sore. If you, herpes testing, that type of thing, just for them to take like, all these precautions. And I get it, for TV, whatever, they have to CYA themselves. But I mean, and then you would submit this documentation, then you'd be put on this, I would say, like waiting watch, where you're no one's calling you, so to speak, or whatever. You're watching your email every day, every hour, hitting refresh, waiting for the stuff to come back. And then you'd get an email back. Jess, you're moving on to the next round. We need this and this from you. Okay, you fill all that information out, you send it back. Wait a week. Jess, man, you're moving on again. We love you so much, blah, 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 blah. Well, it went so far up until like the semifinals, right before that they got to the point to where this would have been for season 2, and flying you out to California to basically go through, like the interview process to actually, then
be on the show.
Well, didn't get a phone call, didn't get anything. What you would think when someone's going to tell you, we're not moving you on or bringing you. Everything is done through email. It was such a mess. So it really put me through a whole it really tore me up. So they sent this email and they basically said at that point in time for the show, they said due to logistics, it's easier for Chris to travel to this other airport where these 2 twins that were being on the show here in the state of Michigan were right there in that area. And it was a commercial airport that he could fly into, as opposed to coming to Detroit and then taking an hour drive from Detroit to come, see me or whatever.
Right.
So we're sorry, Jess, what we're going to have to pass on you. And this was all in an email. Really.
So you never met with anybody ever?
No, it was all through email, man. All through email. All through email. And then it was, send this information to our lawyers. The lawyers got to look it over. They'll get back to you. The lawyers got back to me. Jess, everything's great. We're moving you on. Questionnaire after questionnaire. What your blood type is, what accounts do you have? Do you have any of, this type of, have you ever, they and you have to provide all this information and they want it so quickly. That's the thing. Right. You've got to get it back to us, man. We're moving so fast. You got to get it back to us.
Yeah. So then how was that after you got that last email, like, hey, we're not taking you because of logistical reasons? What was your gut response afterwards?
I was pissed, man. I was pissed. I took it the wrong way, to be honest with you. I put them on blast about it. I did, man. I went to the internet. I posted my story, not necessarily like MFing them or anything like that, but I at least told and shared my experience of the whole thing from soup to nuts, basically, what took place. And I had labeled it, the harsh reality of extreme weight loss in reality TV. It's not all like,
sunshine and rainbows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know? And it was tough, man, but
TV's a lot of hurry up and wait. Hurry up, you need this.
it is,
Wait.
man, 100%. And I think, I kind of look at it as it just wasn't my path. My path is not to be, to do it on TV or whatever. It's to do it like me, and with the help of, and that's why like ALG and those types of things. And like, to me, I think I feed more off of the community in that sense than I would because, okay, I'm on TV. I can't reach anybody through the screen.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And the limelight's dangerous because you sit there and you're doing it for the wrong reasons. And it's so like you see all these accounts that even on social media, for example, like they start their TikTok or their Instagram of here's my weight loss story. And it goes viral. And it's like, I'm 540 pounds and here's my story. And they go viral. And now they're so ingrained into, oh my gosh, I'm in the limelight.
Viral, yeah.
Yeah. And why they're viral. And then the two issues happens. Number one, if their account starts to dwindle, they dwindle motivation for continually going. Or number two is they're so ingrained in this like obesity transformation in its entirety that it becomes who they are. And now they're always stressed out because they think that's who they need to be for the rest of their lives. And it's just both accounts. The limelight is so dangerous as a motivator for like extreme weight loss because it's so easy for it to get away from you. I'm more fat. I always love the stories of like people you've never heard of, that it's like some woman who's a secretary who was like whatever and just did it because she just felt like it.
Right.
Like that's what's so much, because that's what's so much more sustainable. It had nothing to do with I need to feel significance in front of everybody.
Right.
And I did. And I think, I know I at first, like, I wanted it I wanted to be connected with Chris Powell is what I really, like that was, I was looking for that replacement of what had happened to me when I was younger.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And then as that drummed up, I was, and as this is going on, I had that moment in my weight loss period where losing weight for all the wrong reasons.
Mm-hmm.
Losing weight and it's funny now and this time around, because back then, like I wanted that limelight. I wanted that, it was just, I was building up like this facade type. To think about it now, like it really makes me mad that those were the things and those were some of the reasons behind me wanting what I wanted.
So you were losing weight for clout, basically.
Previously, yeah.
But previously, yeah. No, not now.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that now.
And the difference is now, when I stepped back and I wasn't contacting brands saying, hey, let me be a part of your brand and let me help you out, blah, 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 blah. Now there's this weird thing going on with me now, because even like, I have another, besides my weight loss, Instagram, I also have another Instagram. One of my passions is golf, and that
right.
I love it.
Yeah. And so I have that as well, but now I don't know how to react, because now there are companies, coming to me now, and I'm not that big. I'm not that huge or anything like that. And, and I don't want any of this to like, get to my head or whatever. But it's just weird now, because now I'm telling companies, no, I don't believe in what you're wanting me to do. And they're coming to me and no, I don't. I like having to say no, where I think, 3-4 years ago, I would have been
any significance boost.
Right.
Yeah, anything that would have been, and like, and I look at
weight loss tea, I'm in.
But I look at it now, it's like, even with the 2 or 3 things that I have right now, it's so hard to even juggle and keep up with all of that. How would I have done, just taking on any and everything just because I thought that I could, because I wanted, if I'm connected with this one, I thought it was going to get me somewhere, and that's what I wanted, and just, it really, really, really makes me mad now, because now I just, instead of doing it for that type of reason, it's like, my motto, and one of my biggest quotes is, you know, stop making life your excuse, make life your reason. And I truly want to, like, 100% put all of my belief in that, because I've said it, and it's saying it and believing it at the same time. Life gets in the way for all of us. Life is always going to be there until the time that we are, you know, are gone. And there's going to be situations, there's going to be things that happen. Do not let it derail you. That's what it did for me in the past, is I would let a life event happen and totally screw with my head, and it would lead me to having a binge fast of just eating anything and everything that I wanted. And you know what? Since 11:30, you know, of 2020, and doing this and doing keto, I've not done any of those types of things. I have such a totally different mindset. I think when you have that different mindset, I kind of look at, like, you know, trying to get your financial, or getting your house in order. You know what I mean? If that's the way that I want to say it.
Right, of course.
And that spreads across everything. It's like knowing your priorities and what you really want. I want so much more than this clout or whatever, but I also want to have fun with my life. So now I went this direction of, like, reaching out and saying, instead of me just wanting to be like this, you know, a famous person for losing all this weight. No, now what I want to do is I want to help other people that are these other Jesses that are out there that may not have a voice, may not know. So I started looking at and reaching out. You know, grateful that I found you guys. I found ALG. Guys, I look forward to, like, getting home, you know, and being at, you know, at 8:30 and jumping on that call every week.
Appreciate that. Thank
and
you.
I haven't missed one since, you know, I came to the first one. Guys, I look forward to it. I love it. What you guys are doing is completely incredible. I've touched so many people have connected with me, and that's what I want now. I just want to connect with people.
So
I love it.
What is next for Jess?
That's exactly where I was going with it.
So
because now you figured out what it is you really
what's
want.
the process? What are you doing? What do you want now?
Yeah, you know, as far as, it's a hard question to really, like, I have goals. I have non-scale type victory goals, but the overall type thing is, you know, I'm not looking, you know, like writing a book or anything like that, but
Right.
I think it ties into the whole thing of, like, what I was saying with this gentleman and how I feel, you know, like, abandoned us. I really would like to get to that point to where I'm comfortable with the amount of weight that I lost, where I feel that I can speak. I mean, I feel like I can speak about it now, because 200 pounds is nothing to, like, you know, sneeze at.
That's huge. Yeah.
That's a huge, but
accomplishment.
Getting to a point where I would like to speak in front of kids and teach it, just not teach them what to eat and whatever, but explain,
Give them motivation. Yeah.
Give them, well, motivation comes with action. You can't, you know, that's how I believe in that. You know, you can't have motivation unless you take action. So, you know, and that's what I want to do, is I want to take action. I want to give back to kids that that struggle with their weight, you know, and explain to them that, you know, they're, you know, they don't have to, doesn't have to be that way. And I want to come up with a formula that I truly believe in, that explains the message in terms that spreads across, like, you know, young kids. You can explain it in so many different ways, but that's what I've been, you know, been working on, is what would I have liked to have heard when I was, you know, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, you know, into that cusp of elementary going into junior high, you know, middle school. What would have helped me that I can help other, you know.
Yeah, not get into the situation in the first place.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's just like, I mean, Yeah, it's like trying to it's like me within medicine, which was like I decided not becoming a doctor because doctors deal with the illness.
Right.
And it's like, how can we do things that
To prevent
you
the
don't
illness.
get the illness in the first place? Like that, like what, like, yeah, type 2 diabetes, we can help with this and this and this. But what can we do in a lifestyle standpoint 10 years ahead of time since the age of 12 that it's not even an option? It's
Right.
not even you don't have to worry about it.
The difference is, not to cut you off.
No, you're good.
Is like, my kids now, my wife, whatever, we take them to the doctors and they see their doctor, and their doctor, it's kind of leading to like what you were saying. Their doctor has never experienced or has even their own child that's overweight or whatever, but yet and I get it, they're a doctor. So, but they want to try to explain to a kid, eat your vegetables. Oh, and then they want to say, well,
Right.
you just got to take those, things out of the house, and, then they will never be able to eat them. I mean, it's like listening to that, it's like they make it, they make it sound so much easier than what the experience really is. So that's why when I say that is really coming up with that. If only I would have heard it this way when I was younger, it would have resonated, and I would be in a much, different place.
I totally get that.
No, I see that. Absolutely. Absolutely. So Jess, I appreciate you being on today. And I think that your story is definitely one that will motivate a lot of people, because you've definitely hit this from a lot of different avenues. You've come in a lot of different directions. And I think now is really where you're really finding your place. Would you kind of agree on that?
I 100% agree.
So
I 100% agree.
before we wrap this up today, I do have a couple of questions to ask you. You let me know when you're ready for those questions.
Oh,
He's not ready. He's not ready.
He doesn't seem like he's ready. So that's why I'm just like, you ready, Jess?
I'm ready, man.
All right, cool.
Bring him on. Let's go.
Awesome. So if you could go back in time and talk to your former self, if you could talk to yourself, the one that was so ready to be mentored by this super local famous guy who lost all this weight, if you could talk to that kid who has no idea what's going to come next, what would you say to him?
I would tell me back then that as much as I think it's not going to be okay and that nothing will ever change, that you believing in yourself is everything. Believing in yourself. Don't believe in anything else being the element that is going to fix and take care of it for you. The only person that can do it is you. So believe in yourself.
I love that. And Jess, if you could offer 3 solid pieces of advice for those listening, it doesn't have to be weight
One
loss
has to be
related.
about golf swings.
Okay, one has to be about golf swings.
3 things, just success.
Solid piece of
Life.
advice.
Anything.
Life,
that's why I
anything.
said. That's why I said one has to involve a golf swing.
One has to include. If you're coming over the top on your golf swing, it's okay, because if you know how to use your hips right, you'll even yourself out. There you go.
Okay. It's okay to come over the top as long as you get your hips through. I respect that.
Obviously I said that because it's a problem that I deal with. Number 2, just whatever you're doing in your life, weight loss, whatever it is that an accomplishment that you're trying to do, just start somewhere. I think a lot of us tend to put a lot of research in things. And when you do that and you just go full hardcore of the research will scare you, and it will make you kind of move away, because you will get into a funk of, there's no way that I can accomplish that. Look how much work I got to do to do this.
Aim. Never pull the trigger.
Yeah, 100%. So just start, whatever it may be, whether that's weight loss, financial goals, cleaning up a closet. I mean, just start it. Don't keep on opening the door and looking at it and saying, well,
Tomorrow's a great day.
It'll wait till tomorrow. It'll wait till tomorrow. You know. And lastly and third, I mean, it's cliche as it may be, just, you know, be kind to people. You know,
No, that one's really important.
It's free.
Yeah. Kindness
It's absolutely
It's
free.
something John needs to hear more often.
Yeah, okay.
Just
Damn New Yorkers.
Just
Don't know how to be kind out here.
When you can do that, and we can do that in this world, and everyone can follow suit with that, things will be very different. And I truly believe that.
So I actually have a bonus question for you, Jess, just because I'm very, very intrigued to hear what your answer may be. I know, as we've discussed throughout this whole entire episode, you have gone, you know, you have attacked this from a bunch of different ways, right? Do you have any regrets up to this point? Or would you, if you could replay this out, would you do it the exact same way?
Yes, I would do it the exact same way. However, this is another clue. I mean, I know everyone would say this too. I would have done things instead of the whole researching, putting things off. It's the whole Monday thing.
Right.
I'll do it Monday. When is my Monday going to come? I would have pushed my Monday up so much further than when I did.
I like that. I think that that's a really good place to end this podcast off. Jess, where can we find you? I know that you have a bunch of different projects going on. So where can we find each and everything that you're doing?
Yeah, where I'm most active, just reach out to me, please. I love connecting. You know, please reach out to me on Instagram. You can find me at RNY Keto Guy, RNY, Keto Guy. I do have a YouTube. It's very, very small, but if you want to see, I have some videos on there that kind of, my wife and my own, I did some, like a little small documentary on our process with our weight loss surgery days. So,
Nice.
Those are on there. So if you guys just want to kind of get a feel for that, please reach out to me and connect with me. Let me know you found me through here, so I know. And, I would love to, follow you back and build a relationship. I think connecting is everything, man. So support is everything. Support is key in any endeavor that someone's trying to take on, especially in weight loss.
Hell yeah. I mean, we're all in this journey together, as cliche as that may sound. Jess, I really appreciate you taking some time out and being here today. I love your journey. I love your story. And I really do feel like it's going to inspire some people. Really quick for everyone listening, thank you for tuning in and thank you for listening. Please leave a 5-star rate and review. And you can find the Accountable Life Journal on Amazon.com now.
Links in the bio.
Yep, what he said. And David, I think that's it. Right?
I think we're good.
We're good. All right. So on that note, stay beautiful, stay sexy, stay accountable.
Toodles.
Bye-bye. Bang, bang.